Hi guys, so this is Rahul, and in today's video we are going to cover a very interesting topic which every developer should know, or anybody who's learning software engineering should know. So what is this topic? So this topic is about, can we run Python in our local machine without installing it, or can we run apps based in Python? Let's suppose Flask app, Django app, or any machine learning based app, maybe TensorFlow, Keras, any kind of application you want to run without installing Python. Is it possible or not? And if it is possible, how we can do that thing? And why you should know this thing? See, this is the age of modern age development. Every day new techniques are coming in the market, and cloud is also, if you know, cloud is very important today, to know AWS cloud or Microsoft Azure cloud or Google cloud. These are the three front runners. So nowadays development is not just about learning a language, but also about the tools and techniques and how to build a robust pipeline till deployment. Like when you are building a software, you must be thinking of deploying it, testing it. Before deploying, you must be thinking of testing it. So nowadays, software is not just about coding, but also architecture, also the methodology you use, and various other things. Okay, but I will not take much more time. I will just start with this video today. And the first question is that why? Why is the need of knowing these things? Like if you want to run Python, why not install Python? If you want to run a Django app, let's go and know how to run a Django app. What are the steps followed? But every problem, every solution arises from the problem. So this thing, that why we need to know how to run Python. Okay, how to run Python without installing it. Correct. That why we need to know this thing? There has to be a reason of that. Correct. So the reason is, there are a lot of reasons, and I will try to give you some couple of reasons. Okay. First of all, is that suppose now today's, if you see today's development stack, let's focus only on Python, right? As of now, we will not focus on the other language. Let's say Java, .NET, any other Node.js for now. Just focus on Python. So what kind of apps you make in Python? You make, let's say, web apps. You make uh, artificial intelligence map. You make NLP based apps. Okay, there are a lot of you also. If you people know, we also work. People work on big data using Python. And let's suppose, if you know, uh, many of you might have done some courses of big data and anything. So you might be aware that big data is mostly the architecture, the Hadoop and the Spark architecture is suited to a Unix system. And let's suppose you are running a Windows app, a Windows, uh, you are having a Windows machine. So how do you run this thing? It becomes very difficult. A lot of libraries in machine learning, let's say TensorFlow, Keras, all this natively support Unix, Linux, and it is hard to run run those things on Windows. Okay, so and there could be other reasons also. Let's suppose you're building a Flask app which supports a particular version of Python. You're building a big data app, a Spark based app which is supporting a different version of Python. So you have to actually maintain multiple version of Python, maybe multiple version of databases, multiple version of different softwares. It is not just about the Python, but different tools you have to install. So there's a problem. There's a problem here that we are installing. So basically, what we are doing here, we are installing way lots of tools and different versions of softwares. This is the problem. And this is one of the problem. Okay. And let's suppose you did some work on your local machine. You got some output. Okay, you got the output. You got, and now you want to share that work with the world. Okay, how do we do that? Okay, you will obviously upload your file to, let's suppose your work to GitHub. But GitHub is fine, but you will also uh, share how to run. Okay, how to run your app. Okay, now it may happen somebody is trying to run the app which you have uploaded in GitHub, and they might face some issues. Okay, because let's suppose the app is based on MongoDB, and somebody can struggle to install MongoDB. Somebody can struggle to do the connect. Something they can miss, and then it is very hard to replicate. Okay, very hard to replicate the exact same steps. So this thing I will take it downward because this is the main thing. This is the main thing which is solved by the current tool, which is I will tell you. Okay, and what is that current tool? Just in a moment. Okay, but what we are trying to do here is we are trying to follow a tool or technique in such a way that it is easier to share your work. Okay, you can document your work, like document your steps, like whatever you have followed, like how to install. Let's suppose you have made a Django app and you have installed some database. Let's suppose you connect to MySQL. Somebody can connect to Postgres. Somebody can connect to a SQL Server. It depends. Okay, so you want to state the steps which you have followed and share that thing to the world. How do you do that? Definitely, you can make simple what I can say README file. You can just write those steps. But again, as I said, people make mistake, and different operating systems have a lot of problems. Somebody can be running a Windows 10 app which might lack some kind of service. Something can be different. Okay, based on the configuration of the operating system, or somebody can maybe using a different operating system. Let's suppose Mac or Linux. Then how do you share your work? It become difficult. Okay, so we need a universal platform or a tool or technique which will solve this thing. Okay, so here that universal, we can say universal platform which solve our problem is, if you have heard of this thing, is Docker. And Docker is not like a virtual machine, but in a way it is like a virtual machine. It is known as containers in modern day world. It is known as containers. So container is what? It is operating system plus the software. Okay, nothing more than that. Okay, just for your understanding, containers are nothing more than what is it is. It is just operating system and the software which you want to install. It is you can install in that container. Okay, so this is Docker. So let me give you just a minute. Okay, yeah. So let's open Docker. Just a minute. So if you go and search Docker, you will get the website. So this video is not about uh, the Docker video in depth, but giving you an overview. But what is Docker? What problem does it solve? And giving you some practical approach. How do you like install these things and how do you use? And I'll give you a demo also, not just theory. Okay, I don't believe in theory too much. I'll give you a practical demo how to use this Docker. And so what you need. So Docker is like, you can explore more about Docker. You will get a lot of materials about what is Docker, how to install Docker. So what I will say, this install Docker. If you're using Windows, you can install Docker also. but it will be difficult to install Docker on Windows. It is not straightforward, but yeah, there are different ways in which we can install Docker. I am also running a Windows machine, and my version is my the version of the Windows is Windows Home. Okay, it easily runs on Windows Professional, but on Windows Home it creates some problems. So there are some techniques in which you can run that thing. But yeah, Docker can be run in Windows, so you can explore that thing. Okay, and you can just search Docker download, and you will get how to install the Docker download on Windows, and you can get a lot of materials about videos about these things. So you can explore that. So this video is not about that. This video is just giving you the technique, the tools, and the ways how to do that thing. So if you see this, you can explore this thing, how to install Windows on Windows, this Docker desktop. Okay, and there's a documentation also. So please go through this thing, and you can do that thing. So I have installed this thing. I have uh, installed this thing. Now, second thing which I will always like suggest you to do is install VS Code, that is Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code is a very good editor. It is not just a code editor, but it has a lot of good extensions which, and it can run any language, literally any language you can imagine. Okay, any software language, whether it is Java, .NET, C Sharp, Python, Node.js, Golang, any language you say, VS Code can run this thing. And not just that, it can also uh, have the extension to run the Docker files, and there are a lot of things it can do. Okay, so I have done that thing. So what I am going to do here is going to give you a demo, like how to uh, what is the how do we do that thing, like how do we, once you install Docker, what is the next step? Okay, there are different steps, but I'll give you a simple demo. So let me open my VS Code. Okay, so in VS Code, so please download VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Okay, and just a minute, I'm opening the wrong. So just okay, so I'm just going through. Okay, so this is my. You can search my name on GitHub. You'll get my profile. So github.com Rahul Akhori. Okay, that's my name. If you can just type this URL, you'll get some repository which I have created, and one of that is Leave API. So please go and download this code. If you have installed Git, you can just git clone this URL, or if you have not, you can just download the zip file and open this thing. Okay, so I've already downloaded this code, and I'm just going to open this solution, this folder in a Visual Studio. So this is that. Just a minute, this is hanging. Just give me a moment. This is why this is hanging. Okay, fine, no problem. So leave API. Okay, I've already just ignored this thing for now. Okay, DB web Docker compose token.txt. Just check here. Same thing. DB folder web folder token.txt Docker compose. Okay, so same solution I have downloaded on my machine, and the same thing is there. Okay, now I will not open the Docker Compose first, but I will open the Docker file. What is Docker file? The Docker file is the main thing which defines a Docker-based software development. Okay, so you should always, and see, I have installed Docker extensions. So if I go in the Visual Studio Code and find extension, I have already downloaded the Docker extension. So please download this Docker extension if you want to run this thing. Please download this thing. I have already downloaded it. Okay, so what happens, there are a lot of advantages using this thing. You can, so I will show you what is the advantage of downloading the Docker extension, but yeah, please download that thing now. So this is my Docker file. Now here I'm writing from Mongo this thing. Okay, something. Now, obviously, I'm trying to build a machine, or you can say a virtual machine or a container, Docker container, where I can, which is where MongoDB is already installed. So I don't have to go in my local system and install MongoDB and follow all the steps. MongoDB is already installed. If I follow this, so from Mongo, what is this from? So Docker file will consist of some step. But the very first line is that from it will try to pull from, when you say from, it is trying to pull from an image, Docker image. Okay. So what is that image? So if you can see, if I move my mouse here, it is saying control plus click. So I can just click this thing. And if I click this thing, it will open a link in the browser. Just wait. It's opening or not. Just a minute. Yeah, it is opening. You can see this is the image which I have built. Docker pull Mongo means same thing from Mongo, and that this is the tags. So just ignore these things. But yeah. So where is that? Yeah, this one. Yes. So this contain basically what I can say all the steps needed to install MongoDB. No, but as I told you, Docker container or image will obviously run on an operating system. So you might be thinking, okay, what is the operating system here? Is it Linux or it is Windows? And what are the steps which is followed to install MongoDB? How do we check that thing? Okay, so this is a ready-made image. Okay, I can just write from Mongo, that's it, nothing more than that. Okay, so you can write this from this, let's say I will write from Mongo. Okay, and then I will try to write the tag. Okay, and tag can depend. There are multiple tags uh, available to a particular image. You can see, but I have installed 4 point, I guess 0, 4.0. Okay, if I do Control Z, yeah, 4.0.0. So, so if again I go to that, I can go and check the tags, and I will get something. Just wait. Just wait. Why am I not able to open this? Just I will try to open this and okay. So I'm trying to open it. Still, it is. I'm already signed in. Why it is storing me to? Okay. It is not giving me the output. Else I just have to sign in. Okay, so you guys also have to sign in if I remember correctly. So please sign in. And I'm just trying to log in first. Okay, yeah, you have to log in because without logging you are not able to see this thing. Okay, so if I go and see the tags, I guess what it is doing view all about tags. Just a minute. It is okay. So okay. Actually, I was trying to show you different thing, but I guess there's some problem. Where is that file? Just in time. Not able to. Okay, tags is also not available. Review. Actually, Okay, this is the link which I wanted to show you. Okay, so I am running 4.0.0, I guess this one. 4.0.0 as don't to find it, but yeah, I try to run any one tag from the version 4 and show you how it works. So let's try uh, let's try 4.4 4.0. I guess yes, here you can see the image. Okay, just a minute. Boy, I'm not able to find. Hmm, hmm. Okay, let me click on one of that and show you how it works. Okay, so see here, this is the thing I wanted to show you. Okay, so here it is written from Ubuntu. So it is trying to first install Ubuntu and then execute some command. Here you can see it is trying to add some user group, something like that, and MongoDB command, something like that. A lot of complex command. You can see there are a lot of complex command. Okay, if you run let's suppose you install Ubuntu yourself and you have to install MongoDB, you might have to run so many commands, so many steps you have to do to get MongoDB up and running. Now all of this thing is already mentioned in this file. This is also a Docker file. Okay, but what you don't say this complex thing. Why? Because this is already written. Okay, it is already saved as a Docker file. You can see this is a Docker file. See here, Docker file. Okay, so this is a Docker file which is already there. If I just do 0.2, okay, you can see this is the Docker file. Okay, and some configuration. Okay, but the Docker file is nothing but simple instruction to do all those things. So here, when I do from Mongo, means something is happening in the background. Some instruction is running in the background. That okay, first spawn a Ubuntu system, then add some permissions, then add MongoDB. Whatever steps is needed to install MongoDB, that is taken care of in that Docker file. Now I am just referring that Docker file here or Docker image here, and what it will do, it will just pull all those instructions from the Docker file, run it here, and create a Docker container. Okay, that is what it does. Okay, and so that is the power of using a Docker file or Docker. Okay, right now it is a very modern technology. Almost every open source company or every company, development company who is working open source technologies is working on this thing, using it. There are a lot of users, but I'm not going to cover everything in today's video, but I'm trying to give a introduction to people who don't know anything about Docker and how they can use this thing. Okay, so this is a Docker file, and we have one more Docker file in another folder, which is for web. So I made two folders, one for web and one for DB. So this will create a container which will run MongoDB, and this will create a container which will run the Python Flask API. Okay, see, this is the image, and also this is trying to run from Python. If I again go click on this thing, it will again open Python. I'll copy this link and I'll paste it here. I guess have to use to log in to check the content. So please create an account on Docker Hub. Okay, and if I go create, you can see this the different tags. I'm using 2 point something. I guess 2 point something. because 2 point something is right now not supported, but yeah, I'm already using this thing. Let's suppose I go and click on anything, doesn't matter. Okay, again you can see this is again operating system Alpine. Then it is setting the environment path. Okay, you do those things when you do installation on Java, a lot of things you do. All this is, and there are a lot of complex commands here. You can see it's very hard to manually do these things. Everything is now already mentioned in the Docker file, and you even don't have to worry about these things. What you have to do is to find the right Docker image for your work. Okay, I will make a separate video, not everything in one video, but just I'm giving you an overview how you can do. So there's two Docker file, one for Python, one for MongoDB. Then once you install Python here, what additional steps you need? So this Python 2 will not install Flask. Let's suppose this is a solution which we are building on for the Flask API. So it will not install Flask. So obviously we have to put the requirement in the libraries in a requirement.txt file. Okay, so the people who are working on Python, they might know this thing. So all these things there, and this command, the Docker file has this command to run, install all the libraries in the requirement.txt. So if you see pip install, so pip install will install all the libraries mentioned in the requirement.txt. So first, make a system, make a operating system, spawn operating system with Python. Okay, and then you can install whatever required, Flask, RESTful APIs, whatever. It is already given in the requirement.txt. You can check it. Okay, and then just ignore this command for now. You cannot understand in one go, but yeah, I'm trying to give you a high level overview. Okay, so this is how you uh, create Docker files, and this is the actual purpose of Docker file. Nothing but creating set of instruction. And now, so let's suppose you to share this. Let's suppose I am sharing this solution with you. What I have to do? I am just uploading the solution, GitHub solution. You have to just go and download this thing, and just click on this. If you just go here and just you have to do one thing, just click on this Docker Compose. If you have Docker extension installed, just you have to right click this thing, and then there's a command known as Docker Compose up. That's it. Once you do this thing, you don't have to do anything else. It will create all the Docker container both for DB and web and everything. It will do everything to run your API. So let me show you what I have already installed. But you have to install the Docker extension. Okay, this is very important. I can go in here in extension and install Docker. Okay, Docker is very important to install. Otherwise, you will not get these things out of the box. You have to go in the command line and run this thing. Okay, but I can just right click here and say composer. See, this is as simple as that. That's why I told you download VS Code is very powerful. It does a lot of things and very easily for you. Okay, now I will just go and click OK, compose up, and it will run some command on the terminal. You can see Docker compose, then the name of the file that is trying to build the container, see image, and then it will run the image to spawn the container. Okay, so there's just forget about what is image, what is container for now. But just think about we are creating some virtual machine which is nothing but is known as containers. Okay, and right now you can see there's two containers made, one for API and one for one for DB and one for web. You can see this thing. Okay, and it is already done. Okay, now how do I test it? Okay, and where I can see this Docker container running. So I can just go here, click on Docker. You can see this two is running, leave API web and leave API DB. Okay, now if I go here, and this is just like just think when suppose you have to run Linux on your machine. So what you will do, either you will try a dual boot system where you have both the operating system installed, or you will install a virtual machine, and in that you will install Linux. But here this is actually a Linux operating machine running inside your computer. Okay, I will show you how. So just right click this, attach shell. Now see what happens. So this is nothing but your, you can see this root at the rate, this is a Linux based shell, correct? And if I just print Linux command, it will give me ls. So this is your Linux system, you can see in front of your eyes. Okay, and this is as simple as that. Now it has a MongoDB. Yes, it has MongoDB. Just click Mongo and see, this is the Mongo shell which appears. I can say okay, show dbs to see all the database. Okay, what database we are using admin. Okay, you can see the source code, we are using admin. Okay, sorry, we are not using admin, we are using something as lms. Okay, which is not there because right now we have not run our API. When we run our API, it will create the database in this MongoDB. Okay, so let's do this first. Okay, uh, so what I'm going to do, so already I have created the Postman API. So my API is already running at 5,000. You can't see this thing, but by default Python runs on 5,000 API, and it is already running on 5,000 API. If I click send this thing, admin address successfully, you have to also add a token here actually. Which token? The same token which I have given in the token.txt file. Just add that thing, and the header, in the header, the key has to be authorization. Only then you will be able to add this thing. But not necessarily you want to run. If you want to run, it's fine. But it is not about giving a demo of the application, but giving you a demo of you can run any kind of apps using Docker, and it is very simple. Okay, so if I say send, admin already exists because this person, I'm trying to send a request to a API, email, password, name, and all those things. It is already added. Okay, if I change it, then it will create a new admin. So this is a, we can say, endpoint where we can add admins. Okay, this is a employee management system. We have admin, user, we have employees, and all those things. I'm not going to explain all this thing. You can explore on your own. But yeah, let's suppose I have added two employees. Can we see that thing in the database? Again, I will hit show dbs. Sorry, so dbs. Yeah, now I can see lms. Okay, now if I say use lms, okay, and now we are already in the lms, which is our database. Okay, and if I have to just search, so I will say uh, show, sorry, show collections. What are the database which is, so it only have one table, or we can say collection in MongoDB term admin. And if I have to find what is there, so db dot admin dot find, and you can see there are two rows. Okay, see this is this is email, is this two email which we have sent through the postman. So I'm just giving a demo. This is not you have to follow all this. I'm giving a demo where I'm trying to explain that without installing a Linux system, without installing a MongoDB, just by installing Docker, it is so easy to replicate what I have done on my PC using Docker. Same thing with this replicating, just by going to this file, just creating compose up. This is the command, compose up. That's it. Nothing more than that. You will get the Docker file, everything is there. You just need to know how to run the Python APIs and all those things. Okay. But yeah, once you know that thing, it is, you don't have to worry about the installation part. Okay, how to install MongoDB, what is the libraries to install, which a lot of things you will face the problem if you try to run this app. What do? You try to run this app. Okay, api.py is the main root file. Okay, this is the main file. Try to run this app without using Docker. Let's suppose I will try to run this thing. Okay, run. Python file. Okay, I can run this thing. Now what will happen? Let's see. Hmm, Give some error. I don't know. Run start debugging. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, so Python, let's suppose there's a Python. Okay, 3.73. I guess we have already downloaded this thing. Okay, but suppose you have not installed Flask, it will give an error because you have to install this thing locally. Okay, that is the problem here. Okay, so if you have to run this locally, you have to know what libraries to install to run this Flask RESTful APIs, what libraries to install in pip install, what particular library to run this Flask course. There are a lot of things you have to know. Now here, you don't have to do anything. Just go and just click on the Docker file. The Docker file contains everything. Okay, see, just pip install. It already contains. Okay, so no issues about these things. Running is very easy, and there is no need to worry about the MongoDB also. MongoDB is also installed as a container only. So that is the power of using Docker. So Docker is very very powerful. You should definitely check out how to install Docker Desktop on Windows, or if you're working on one, it is even simpler to install. Just using some simple commands. Okay, so I will try to finish this thing, but before finishing, I will give you some practical like what tips about Docker. And if you are a student or if you're learning development and you want to explore different kind of project, how can you leverage Docker? Okay, so let's for example, let's suppose I want to I want to learn Spring Boot. Like Spring Boot is very good demand. I want to learn Spring Boot. Okay, which works with, I can say, Postgres database. Okay, because this is also in very good demand. So I want to find a demo project or some kind of project, ready-made project on GitHub to explore. So I can search, okay, GitHub. But I also want that there should be a Docker file there. And so it is easier for me to just run it out of the box. So I'll just search like this, Docker, Spring Boot, Postgres, GitHub, Docker. Get so many solutions. Let's see, so many solutions. I'm not sure everything will work, but yeah, many things will work out of this. And one of the projects which I have downloaded somehow was, I'll just show you this example. This one, yeah, this one. So this was a very good project which I tried to explore and I found it. And the good thing is that it contains the Docker file, which I was looking for. This thing, Docker Compose and the Docker file. Now, I did not understand everything of the here, but yeah, I understood that okay, this should work by, because if you see this Docker file, Docker Compose, it is trying to first create a DB container and then a, we can say, demo app. There's two containers, okay, here also, and it is trying to install Postgres DB. Okay, Postgres DB, and you can see image Postgres. This is also coming from Docker Hub. So this is, so without installing Postgres, also you can run this thing. Okay, so I will not. You can check. So how to run this thing? Just I will click here. Again, same thing. I can just click here also. Composer. I just do this thing. Let me do this thing. What happens? See, starting. What is it doing? It is starting two countries. That's it. Done. One for DB, like database, and one for your web app. As simple as that. And where I can go and check, I can just go and check in the Docker. I will say, okay, yes, this two thing. one for database Postgres and one for Ode. Okay, and let's suppose this Postgres is running. So can I this is not running in my local machine but inside the Docker. That is the most important point to understand. This is not in my local machine. Inside my local machine, there's a container, and inside the container, this is the Postgres installed. Okay, this is not installed in my local machine. But let's suppose I have to go and I want to explore what is in the database and I want to check. And I don't want to go in the shell. Always I can go in the shell and check what I can say. I can check in the using the command. But let's suppose I don't know the commands and I want to explore database. How can I do that? For that, if you guys want, there's a PG admin tool. Okay, PG admin is like a editor for Postgres database, just like SQL Server Management Studio or something like that. Okay, or MySQL Workbench. That is also editor for MySQL database. So here, let's check it. So I have already added the server yesterday, and that is this local Docker. What is this local Docker? So local Docker is nothing but, okay, let me show you how did I did this. I went into the Docker file. In the Docker file, where's that? Sorry, the Docker compose. If you check here, it, the username is already given Postgres. The password is already given root. Okay, so this password and this is running on localhost, and the port number is 5434. Okay, this is the port number 5434. So what I did, I opened pgadmin. Okay, I will delete this thing. Let me delete this thing. Okay, let me delete. Yes, I will show you how to create. Let's suppose I go here, create server. Now server means you have a Postgres server. It can be on a remote machine, it can be inside a container. I just want to browse it. So let's suppose I will give you Docker Postgres. Okay. Now connection is like host name or address or IP address. So here it is localhost. So just type localhost. Port number is 5434 because the Docker is mapping that 5432 which is running inside that Unix system to 5434. Username is Postgres only, but the password is root. I will try save and I'll click on the save and it works. See, it connected. And you can see the database name also, Spring Boot data, Postgres DB. And it contains data also. You can check here the table, see user entity. So it is very easy. You can go view data, all data. It consists of, I guess, some problem is there. But yeah, the point I'm making is just refresh this thing, refresh this. Okay, now I'll try to view data, all rows. Some problem is there. Okay, but the thing is that you will able to see the database and the tables, everything, which is actually not running in your local machine, but in a container, in a Docker container. Okay, that is the power of using Docker without installing Postgres, without installing MySQL, without installing MongoDB. You can run it, you can browse it, you can, if you want to, let's suppose in my this Python API I have used, I've showed you how to what I can say, browse the MongoDB through the by attaching the shell. Okay, you don't want to do that thing. You don't want to go in this DB cell attach shell. You don't want to do that thing. You want a GUI editor, and you don't want to like run the same thing. Okay, Mongo, and this is very hard. You don't want this thing. No issues. You can go and just download MongoDB GUI editor. That's it. And get a lot of editors we can directly connect. You have to just give the connection string properly, the port number, and all those things. Okay. So every process runs on a port number. Like my Postgres is running on 5434. MongoDB must be running on some other port. You can go and check it, find it about that thing. But yeah, it is very simple. Once you do it, it is very simple. I can show you the code also. If you show your code in my web project, I'm trying to connect with Mongo, and this is the code for this thing. See, the Mongo is running on this port 27017. So you can also download GUI tools and connect with the MongoDB. Okay, so this I'm giving you an overview of Docker. If you have to run, and right now this is based on Java, this is based on Python, and this is based on Java. And just a minute, yeah, this is based on Java. This is C, Maven, source. This is all Java code. I have not installed Java in my machine because I don't work on Java. Okay, if you I can show you CMD. If I run Java, Java is not installed. Another, okay, Postgres is installed, pgadmin, but not Java. Then also it is running on my. I can run the apps. I can even debug it. That I will show you in another video how to debug the code. Okay, inside the container. What is the advantage? Okay, how to, you can use the VS Code to do these things, advanced things. But if you're new to Docker, I will advise you to first download it. Just uh, find something which you are interested, like you're interested in learning Spring Boot. The search, okay, that Docker with Docker file. You'll get a lot of example projects on GitHub with Docker file. Suppose somebody want to run Django with Postgres, you can get a lot of, see, Postgres and an engine. A lot of, you don't have to do anything. Just go here, download a code, just see whether it contains Docker file or not. It contains Docker Compose, yes. That's it. So no need to worry. Just download it, it will run. No need to worry about this thing. So that is the power of using a Docker. If you install Docker, you can run any number of app with a just like a button click. You click a button. Similarly, just you go and create Docker file. Just do compose up, or if you Docker compose is not there, it can have Docker file. That also it will do. Just go here and build image and run the image. That's it. Very simple steps. Any kind of project, it may be Django, it can be Python, Java, doesn't matter. It can be AI based, big data, anything, MERN based application, nothing. Don't no need to worry, just go explore, and it is very, very powerful, and you must know things. Even if you are a student studying first year, second year, I don't care. You must know because it may be challenging in first go to understand and make sense of this thing. But once you will start using it, you will enjoy because so it is so powerful. Just see, without installing the tools, the software, you're able to run that thing, and you are able to debug it also. Okay, I will show you in the next video how to debug the code. Okay, how I can debug the code and see how it is working. Let's suppose I want to debug the code. Okay, this is my endpoints here, API endpoints. These are the different endpoints. Okay, I just showed you the example of this thing, LMS admin. Well, this one. Okay, LMS admin. See this thing, LMS admin. Okay, in the post menu, you can just check. Same thing, LMS admin. Okay, so how to debug this code? Okay, when I send the request from when I send just yeah, when I send a API request, can I debug the code in the backend? Yes, I can do. How will do that? Will show you a different video. Like I'll make a separate video on how to debug Docker containers without installing it. Again, my main point is I'm trying to emphasize that point. This is the video was not about just Python, but overall any language doesn't matter. You want to learn .NET Core. .NET Core is also in very good demand. You can learn that thing also, but you don't have to worry about installing because it will slow down your system. If you install too many software in the system, it will slow down. Docker is also a heavy software, but you have to install only once, and you can enjoy. You enjoy coding. You can learn and VS Code. These two things. Okay, so I hope you might have enjoyed this video, and I have already taken a lot of time, which is almost 50 minutes. So I will stop at this point, and you can check my profile on LinkedIn also. And I also run a startup company where we train people to get jobs in IT companies. You can check that also. So hope for the best, and see you next time. Okay, thank you.